Everyone, welcome to Chess4Unity's third Saturday event, and my name is Vincent Say, and I am trying to win first place in this event as always. So I hope everyone is having a great happy Easter weekend, and for those of you who have spring break, like myself right now, I hope you're relaxing and enjoying the ride. So I guess we're getting started right now, and my first opponent is Shark Tom 555. So good luck, Shark Tom. And again, good luck to everyone who is playing today, and hopefully we all come out of this event with something new. Okay, so let's go. So this opening is Black has played the Slav defense, and I am going into the exchange variation, which is solid for White and for Black as well. White has a slight bit of a developmental advantage, but nothing really special here. So simply developing my pieces, see where that leads to. Okay, so here Black has a couple of ways to proceed. He can just go knight c6, which is normal, I would say. E6 is also possible, and really they all should transpose into similar positions, because my next move is almost always e3. So in this case, I'm playing e3, getting this light square bishop out of its cage. So Black plays a6, which is interesting. I'm going to go bishop e2. So another option for me was to go bishop d3, but in my opinion, that simplifies the game a little bit too much, and that's not really what I want. Let's bring the knight to e5. Let me see. Trying to calculate some interesting variations here. Let's start with bishop takes e5. Knight takes e. The problem with d takes e5 is after knight d7, it just looks like an unnecessary concession. So, okay, bishop d6 is sort of expected. And now I'm looking at queen a4. So queen a4, if Black plays b5, I'm looking at knight takes b5, takes, bishop takes b5, king e7. Yeah, okay, so king e7, and then I have nothing there because bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, the rook on a8 is protected. Yeah, so unfortunately there's nothing there. So, unfortunately, we have to play a more passive move. I don't want to just... Hmm. Kind of want to play f4, but that also looks a little bit premature in this situation. Okay, so I'm thinking of another idea. Looks a bit interesting. Queen a4, b5, bishop takes f6. So the idea is that if queen takes f6, we have bishop takes b5 check. And if g takes f6, well, we probably have to move our queen back, but at least we managed to disrupt the pawn structure for black. Yeah, I feel like let's do that because this game is lacking some excitement right now. Okay, b5 is played, and again, knight takes b5. The problem is just takes bishop takes king e7. Again, let's just double check that we have nothing there. And at least it looks to me like we have nothing there. So let's take this knight. Okay, queen takes f6. Here we have knight takes b5, like I mentioned before. So that was kind of my idea. Knight takes b5 is even better than bishop takes b5. Takes, queen takes a8, of course. And if he doesn't take, well, it's kind of hard to see what else you can do. I mean, to avoid losing too much material, you probably have to play like king e7 or something. But then I just play knight takes d6 and then rook c1, and your king is in danger. Okay, so that was played, which is a smart decision. I pretty much have to take, looks like. Okay, let's try to get a little bit of something here. So let's start with queen b4. Let's start with queen b4, and he pretty much has to play king d7, because if the king goes to c file, I go rook c1 with check, and that does not look good. And here I was thinking just queen b7, starting with, and you pretty much have to go back to d6 because you don't want to go to the back rank, or else the a8 rook is hanging. And now after king d6, rook c1, this looks like a very difficult attack to stop. I'm threatening quite a lot of things actually. Rook c6, queen c6, or queen c7, all of which are checkmate in one. And I don't see how you can stop that without significant material losses. So as we wait for my opponent to move, let's check out some other games that are pending. Let's look at board 2, which is Ellen 2000 versus HDI Chess. And this looks like a position where black is probably winning. Black is up in exchange and doesn't look like white has much forward, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending who you are, of course. Yeah, takes. Yeah, there's an attack on g3. Okay, my opponent has moved. Let's see what happens. So, yeah, so rook c8 was played, but now I'm just gonna go the simplest route, which is to take everything. So, okay, that's cool. Let's castle. At this point, as long as we're not allowing some crazy mate, we should be fine. Okay, let's see how we should deal with this. Of course, there's a lot of ways, including just bishop f3. Okay, but let's take this pawn first. Check. Okay, let's go bishop f3. Yeah, with no material, black is unable to put any sort of pressure. Queen d6, get our queen into the game. Okay, and this is kind of pretty. Queen d8. Okay, so good game, Shark Tom. So this game was mostly good for both sides until obviously here black has to take back with the g pawn, right? Queen takes f6, knight takes b5 is lost. So after g takes f6, well, it's still a game. Probably around equal, I would say. Yeah, and we can fight on, but yeah, so just a mistake over here. Everything else was fine. So, okay, now let's transition to look at a few other games. So we were checking this game moments ago, and it seems like the status still has not changed much. So let's check other games. Board 3 is Knightsu versus HTT49. Interesting. And this looks like white is winning as well. Yeah, white is up in exchange. And a pawn. Right, white has 5 pawns, black has 4. And yeah, there's pretty much no compensation. White just has to be slightly... Yeah, no. Here, all has... f4 is nice. And now king d6, I would expect, to avoid immediate catastrophic losses. And now b4 is just going to win because black has no way of keeping the rook on the 5th rank without losing the pawn on d5. Okay, since anything wins, it really doesn't matter. So let's check another game, which is board 4, which is Cookie Monster versus Eric Tian Chess. And this game is slightly strange because it looks like it's still in the opening stage and black is burning a lot of time. So I don't know if it's some internet problem or what, because it seems strange that this early into the... Whoa, what is going on here? Okay, that is not cool. Okay, somehow the screen is really shaking a lot. Nevertheless, again, slightly strange that black is still in the opening stage at this moment in time. So yeah, hopefully the internet's okay, nothing's really going wrong, because that would be truly a shame. Okay, now let's look at... Okay, so this game is over, black has won. Clearly makes sense looking at the position. Black has 2 rooks, white has 1 rook. Black is up a rook. And also a bunch of pawns as well. So, cool. Let's check out games that are left. This is Ashley versus Raymosaurus. Wow, that's a pretty cool name. So the material right now, white is up material. So, and in this case, you can kind of see that white is probably almost winning because this bishop on c8 is really, really bad. And also with the double pawns, it's not helping for black. Yeah, and this doesn't really help. The a2 pawn, you can't really take the a2 pawn because, for example, if knight takes a2, white should play c3. And the knight on a2 is trapped. So really there's nothing in this situation that can help, I would say. And unfortunately, yeah, white is just completely winning here. Okay, let's check back. So here we have Danky Dang versus Ready Opening, GM Ready Opening. And it looks like black is up 2 pawns in this position. So there's no doubt that black is winning, but still has to convert. And what I would say black should do is, first of all, it looks like black is totally in control. Right now, the queen on f4 is attacking this rook on c1. This knight on f3 is also in a bit of danger, right? White has no threats on this diagonal because this knight covers the square, right? So that's not really a big deal. And pretty much there is no compensation at all. So white's best try is probably to go queen d2. But then black has a million different choices, including going to endgame, which is winning. 2 pawns is a lot. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to a few games. So here we have, again, HDI chess, going back to previous boards. This looks like black is winning This pawn is dropping. Right, bishop takes e4 is absolutely expected. Yeah, and there's nothing too much to look at. I'm curious to check out the game, the opening game. Okay, so apparently I have really... Oh crap. That is actually annoying. Okay, so apparently we have this position as pretty much what's happening here, and the overall it looks like a normal opening position, but if you look, there's one key difference between black and white's position, and that is black has no time. Black has 51 seconds left for a middle game and possibly an end game, so unless white makes some significant blunder, it's hard for me to see how that's black is going to survive here with that little time. And here we see white is winning again, but white, I missed this the last time we went around, but white only has 19 seconds left. So, although white is obviously winning, right, white is up in exchange, rook for rook, and here white has an extra rook here. Things are always unclear when time gets involved into the equation, especially this little time. There is increment in this time control, which makes it a little bit better, but still, you have to make maximum 2 seconds per move, and if black starts, creating some tricky traps, right, moves that a white would normally not miss, white might start missing, especially with this little time. So that's my main concern over here for white. But it looks like yeah. Yeah, so it looks like white is sort of panicking. Not clear what white is trying to do. And again, like I mentioned, with this little time, you're gonna blunder. Like it's just inevitable. White has 2 seconds, 5 seconds. So if white manages to win this, it would be truly a miracle, considering the low time. Okay, white is still surviving on increment. Black is just gonna go king e7, not do anything. It looks like white has finally found a plan to bring the rook to b4 and attack the king side. Attack the queen side pawns. My mistake. Yeah, and okay, f5 is played. Now white is really talking. This is some tremendous progress from a few moves ago. a4, f6 works. Okay, makes sense. White is playing very well on increment. Considering there's no time, White is making all the correct moves in this position. A4 or C4 now is going to play. Okay, A4. If BA4, now rook takes B6. Or rook takes A4. Again, in this type of position, anything works. Okay, now playing on increment should not be that hard. If I were White, I would first play H4 here. Just to make sure that even if White runs out of time, Black cannot win. But again, that's just me. Because rule goes that if you run out of time and Black has no mating material, and a pawn is actually mating material because a pawn can be converted into a queen. So in general, if you have this little time, I would trade all your and a huge material advantage. I would try to eliminate my opponent's material to make sure that even if by chance I lose on time, I will not lose the game. And here, White didn't do that, but it worked out anyways because the advantage was so big. But just a general like rule of thumb. So nice, congratulations to White for a very hard-fought win considering the time situation. Now let's take a look at this game. So let's take a look at some of the games that are left. This is one of them. And this is a very... White should win. Like, there's no doubt that this should be winning for White. And this is winning for White. But, again, you want to make sure that you're very, very careful. Right? Because one mistake, and honestly, a draw is a possible result. Like, honestly, you have to be very, very careful. White does not have that much time, but King B3. This is so interesting. Look at this. So after B4, it looks to me like I think I would go Rook A6. Honestly, yeah, I would go Rook A6 and attack the pawn that poses the most danger to me. And if Black goes King B5, then I'm going to go Rook H6 and possibly try to go Rook H3. And again, this is completely my instinct. And again, I would need to calculate more to back this up. But let's see what happens. Wow, I don't know what is happening here. But anyways, yeah, somehow, like, the problem with this is that Okay, so here black has 8 seconds, and again, this is not the completely updated board because every single time I move the screen, somehow like things go sideways, literally sideways. So I don't know. And to update you guys, I want to show you what happens right now. So I'm willing to fast forward a few moves, but this game is going to end in a draw. So that's what's happening right now. Black has managed to create a passed A pawn, and White's king is not in time. So this is going to end in a draw. Most likely, of course, everything is a most likely evaluation. Unless something really weird happens, it's going to be a draw. So right now we have a situation where this is, so for some perspective, this is what's happening. So I hope you guys can kind of see what's happening here. So this situation happened, and again, White's king is just too far away. Black just goes king b3, king b2, and White is forced to draw. Right, it's just a draw. So, yeah. This game is getting extremely interesting, so I apologize for this, that you can't see part of the screen, but I really want to fast forward it just to kind of give you an idea what the latest position is going on. And it looks here that it should be a draw to me. Black is of course up the pawn, but again, it's kind of difficult to see how it's possible to convert this pawn. And Black also has 7 seconds left. Oh, but White does not have much time either. So again, there's a rook on the side. I know that's getting cut off, and I apologize for that. But just know that the games are going back and forth, back and forth. And it looks like I'm looking at the screen, and Black is probably going to win because White just blundered a rook. So I don't know how that happened, but we can see. Yeah, so something happened and White lost a rook. So that is a very unfortunate situation. Okay, but that concludes all the games in round 1, and now let's move on to round 2. So my next opponent is Old Wet Plant. I like that name. Let's see what happens. So my opponent plays e4. Let's go e6. E takes d5. Okay, they exchange French. That's fine with me. So right now, again, both sides are developing pretty normal. This is a pretty normal position out of the exchange French. So there's really not much to comment in this situation. Just that, of course, I don't think it's super obvious, but if white takes my knight, I'm going to take back with the pawn. Because if I take back with a knight, then d5 pawn may be hanging. Okay, so this was played. Pretty interesting move. And now let's try to consider what I should do here. Black's idea is to take knight takes d5. So I can either go bishop e6 or f6. Both look fine to me. Let's go f6. The reason I hesitated because I kind of view f6 as slightly bit of a concession, but normally later in this position I would always play f6 anyways. I wouldn't say always, I would say I would usually play f6 anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. It's castle. Castle. Not very surprising. Now I have a choice. I can put the bishop on e6 or put the bishop on f5. And since I really like let's put the bishop on f5. I like because I was originally wanting to place the knight on f5. And maybe ish belongs on f5. But okay, let's just go bishop f5. I think bishop f5 is more of a thinking ahead kind of move because I know that the bishop's future is not on e6. f5 is a much better square. My idea right now is just to play queen d7 and, stay alive. Right now I'm doing a decent job of doing that, of staying alive. My next move, I want to play a6 because this bishop is really, really annoying on b5. I mean, in hindsight, I'm looking at it and my bishop is probably better off on e6 to defend the d5 pawn. I considered that before, but I kind of overlooked that. And although it may, after something like queen e2, it may get in the way, I can just simply move the bishop back to f7 if it were on e6. So that is a slight regret. Okay, let's take. I don't know if that's the most prudent decision here. But okay, let's kick this knight out. But it's not a bad one for sure. Okay, that's slightly surprising because I felt that it would be better for black. Okay, now let's try to think strategically. It's funny I say that because right now I do not know what I should be doing here. Like, I have a feeling I should be playing a move like bishop g6. You know what? Let's go bishop g6. So the idea of bishop g6 is so I can have an escape square on f7 and defend the d5 pawn, because this bishop on f5 is great and all, and I probably should not have put it there in the first place, but because it's not really accomplishing anything, right? It's attacking the c2 pawn, but the c2 pawn is well defended. Yeah, so that's kind of my idea. And again, like I said, the f5 square seems more like a home for the knight rather than the bishop. I mentioned that in the beginning, and I still believe that's the case. Okay, so queen e2. Makes sense. Don't want to trade queens. go bishop. Yeah, let's bring the bishop to f7. Seems like a good idea. Now we can try to determine what white is going to do. I mean, I feel like white has a lot of choices, none of which are particularly dangerous for me. None that I feel like I have to worry about. And the thing I always like to ask is, how would I evaluate this position? Right? Take a step back from being a player and look at it from a spectator's point of view. How would I evaluate this position? And I feel like doing that will provide you with some insight. You might be too biased if you're just looking at it from a player's point of view. So in this case, I would say so we start by evaluating something like pawn structure, and I would say pawn structure is about even for both of us. White has double pawns, but these double pawns, that kind of double pawns is not a particular weakness. So that pawn structure is not that big of a deal in this situation. Piece activity is where I think it becomes a little bit tricky. I don't feel like I'm lacking piece activity. White's pieces are all developed, but it's not like anything particularly special. Okay, so rook d1 was played. And I feel like I should play with e8 here. Let's go rook e8. Okay. Let's go knight f5. Kind of want to get the knight to d6, maybe to e4 possibly to c4. D6 just looks like a very nice square to put the knight. And, open up the rook a little bit. And one thing that I feel like I don't need to worry about, I could be wrong though, is I was thinking maybe white can play rook takes e8 and then trade everything, and that you'll see. So if white takes on e8, I take with the rook. White can go rook e1, I take. White's queen takes, and This d4 pawn is weak, so I was thinking maybe I can go b5 and attack this d4 pawn with my knight. Again, there are some tricky ideas there, considering that there could be some checkmate ideas for white. Hopefully, I'll show you guys more clearly when we get closer to that situation. But again, it's not extremely important. It's really just some random calculation. Okay. That is interesting. G4. It's a little bit surprising because I was going to play knight d6 anyways. And this looks like it's basically forcing me to play knight d6. Now e4 looks like a very nice square. And c4 looks a bit promising as well. Okay. So I have less time than I would have liked to have at this point in the game. But that's okay because for me, time advantage is relative. It's not that big of a deal if you don't have that much time if your opponent doesn't have that much time. Because that means he wouldn't be able to take advantage of your time trouble. So g5 is very interesting. This actually is a very interesting moment. I feel like there's so many options here. It's slightly overwhelming. So we can start by calculating something like b5. Bishop b3, knight e4, knight takes e4, d takes e4. That looks fine to me. Yeah, that looks decent. One thing I feel like I'm doing is I'm overthinking this. So if I just play knight e4 here, knight takes e4, d takes e4. Somehow I thought white can play d5, but I just realized I can just take on f3, and after d takes c6, go queen g4. So white cannot do that. And that means knight e4 is absolutely okay. I think that's what it means. Could be wrong though. Okay, let's go knight e4. I'm expecting takes on e4, honestly, because I really don't. I did not even consider any other move. So if he doesn't take on e4, I'm in for a little bit of a treat. Might not be a good treat, tasty treat, but You probably should not take on e4, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, queen f4 is probably a better move. Yeah, queen f4 looks absolutely fine. I mean, honestly, it doesn't look bad for me either. I can really just take and play b5, and bishop on b3 is not scary at all. Do have to be a little bit careful though. So let's see what it does. Okay, queen f4. Let's go. Let's take this nice treat. Let's go b5. Get that bishop out of there. Bishop on b3 is suspect, so I want it there. This actually still looks like a very complex position. And a fun one, actually. Okay, I think it'll be even more exciting if I play f5. Because now it's, all up in the air. Pawn structure, insane. So let's do that. And I'm not just playing this because I think it's fun. It is, but I also think it's a good move. So just want to get that out there. Oh, I just realized. Chess.com right now, I'm 22.99. So hopefully, maybe I can break a milestone here. Okay. I'm not surprised. Now it's nice and interesting. Let's see what happens. Can I play c5 here? I really want to play c5 here. So if c5, one thing I have to calculate is what happens after e6. And there I think I can play rook takes e6. It should be fine. I can't lose my light square bishop here because that is a very key player in this position. Let's go for it. And again, I'm threatening c4 here, so it's not like I have zero ideas in this position. I do have some ideas, and in fact, the idea of c4 is in fact quite dangerous. Wait, am I the only game left? Hold on. Oh, I'm the only game that is not finished? Seriously? That's surprising considering I don't feel like I've played this game went that long. So I'm looking at d4 right now. d4, the idea is c takes b5. I'm looking at c4. No, that's not good. So d4, c takes b5, a takes b5. And even that looks pretty interesting since this a pawn would be falling for black. Oh shoot, okay. I have too little time. Okay. Oh, I did not even realize I have less than 1 minute. So now we just gotta play based on instinct, you know? E6 takes. Okay, let's take. Okay. So I was calculating e6. Bishop takes e6. Oh, crap. Yeah, because I always have this c4 move. Kind of. Yeah, it's getting tight. Not sure. E6, I might even consider just playing rook takes e6, sacrificing the exchange. Hopefully getting compensation for it. No, but I'm not getting any compensation for that. Okay, so things are going down to the wire. And you know what? That makes it fun. So let's go. Okay, I don't have time to think. Let's take. Go d3. Probably not the most genius idea ever. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the deafening silence for the last few moves. I was just trying to hold on to something in this position. So, unfortunately, the game was a draw, and I want to say huge congratulations to Old Wet Plant for playing a very, very nice game. And now let's just regroup and focus on playing the next one. So, next game, I'm playing against Eric Chan Chess. Let's hit them with the Catalan. So as the standings go, I currently have 1.5 points, and we have 3 individuals with 2 out of 2. HDI Chess, Eric Chen Chess, which is my opponent right now, and also GM Ready Opening, also has 2 out of 2. So here, Black has many routes. The most common move is Knight C6. So that is what I'm expecting, but again, Black can play a lot of moves. C5, B5 might even be a move. A rare move, though. So honestly, I don't really know if B5 is a move. Knight C6, though, is the most popular move. I've also seen Bishop D7 before, but that does not look super dangerous. Let's see what he does. Okay, let's check some other games right now. We have, okay, never mind. So again, like I said, Knight C6, the most common move. I'm gonna go Bishop G5. Let's pay very close attention to the top board in this situation. GM Ready Opening versus HDI Chess. So far, looks like positions roughly equal. So still kind of shaken up over the last game, but you know, gotta move on. Okay, A3, natural move. Black would probably most likely go like Bishop E7. But again, I'm not too familiar with black's opening, so I don't want to make too much assumptions. Too many assumptions here. Okay, let's go back to okay. So bishop e7, like I kind of expected. So let's go back to my game and see what happens. See if my opponent has moved yet. And no. Oh yeah, my opponent moved. Okay, bishop e7 makes sense. Now let's go e3. Let's see. d2 is obviously a move. I don't remember what I should be playing here. I know I have a few options. Knight bd2, b5, knight e5. Seems like a possibility. Let's go knight fd2. So the idea of knight fd2 instead of knight bd2 is now black cannot play b5 because obviously this pawn on knight on c6 is hanging. So black plays h6, I'm gonna take, of course. Now I'm gonna take again. So I gave up my dark square bishop, but I have a very pleasant position here with a little bit more space than black. And another key thing is I prevented black from playing e5, which is usually how black is able to kind of release, like kind of equalize by releasing all this tension. And here that is not the case. Black cannot do that. So now I just continue my normal development and see how it goes. Knight c3, rook c1. Okay, rook b8 makes sense. Logical move. Rook c1, continued development. So, I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why black wanted to play rook b8. I think it is a useful move. Um, hopefully, like, if I were black, I would not even consider playing b5. Hopefully that was not his idea. But another idea is to be able to move the knight without too much interference. Let's go knight e4. Maybe I the c5 square. Or this bishop too. Looks like it could be nice. Another idea I was having, or at least I was thinking about, is playing queen h5. Kind of putting this queen in a annoying spot for black. I'm not sure that's the best idea, but I thought it was certainly worth considering. Even after bishop e7, just going queen h5, developing the queen, making space for this rook, but at the same time, kind of putting a little bit of pressure on black's position. Okay, black is burning a lot of time here, so let's look at board one again, see where that is heading. So to me, this looks like black is much better already. Not only does black have the bishop pair, but white's pieces are all kind of stuck and in kind of like a strange bind. So if I were black, I would go queen e5, bishop e6, and decide when to castle. Bishop f6 is also fine. Similar idea. I would have went queen e5 first. Okay, so my opponent has moved and went bishop there. Not too much of a surprise. Okay, let's play a3 first. a3 prevents a move like knight b4, which I found quite annoying. Because one of black's ideas could have been to play knight d4, knight d5. But, okay, let's undo this motion. Okay, bishop f8 was played. And now queen h5 makes really no sense because g6 is playable. Actually, you know what? It does make a little bit of sense. It does force some concessions. So I can consider that, but overall, is it worth it? I don't know. Let's go anyways. It doesn't seem like it hurts. idea is, again, just to play rook d1. But I feel like queen h5 is one of those moves. I could have played queen e2 immediately, and it would have been totally fine, no questions asked. But queen h5 is one of those moves that make your opponent think, right? If nothing, it kind of burns some time, because now they're looking at g6. They're looking at whether g6 is really worth it or not. And that already, allowing your opponent to burn that kind of time, is a valuable asset. So that's kind of my philosophy to, even if it's just a psychological kind of move, as long as the move has a purpose, which my move queen h5 does. The purpose is to make space for the rook to develop on d1 and possibly play d5, right? Okay. Now that looks a bit dangerous to me. Yeah, that might be losing. Hold on, let me calculate a little bit. So I think knight e5 is no question the best move here. Not even close. Yeah, and after g6, really, queen f3 just wins. Based on what I'm calculating, at least. I mean, yeah, does not look like there's any chance. Could be wrong though, so. See, like, that is what I'm talking about. A move like queen h5, that's the kind of move that it could possibly elicit. Like, black was not, like, don't get me wrong, black is not always going to play a move like knight e7, but again, the chances of black making a mistake is much higher than if I just play queen e2, a normal developing move that has same purpose but less effect. Okay. I want to spend some time looking at some other games. So let's check my previous opponent, Old Wet Plant, versus HTT49, and it looks like black is losing here. Wait, one sec. D4, interesting. Takes, yeah, this is not, I don't think black is in time. Like in the worst case, white takes and then goes rook e8 and then brings the rook back to e1. Yeah, no, there's no hope there. But again, you never know what happens. So, you never, ever know what happens. Okay, my opponent has moved and played knight g6, which is honestly probably the best move in that position. Like, not gonna lie, I did not even see that knight g6 was possible. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's definitely not bad for me. But, yeah. Okay, let's take, I don't really see anything better. Takes. Queen takes g6. So again, it's still decently complicated, so it's not, the game's not over yet, that's for sure. I won a pawn, but that's it. Let's think a little bit. Try to figure out a suitable plan here. What would he play if it were his move? The answer to that question is not very clear. Probably bishop d5. Then I can possibly play that. Okay, so let's play rook c3. The idea of rook fc1. And I also set a little bit of a trap. Okay, he did not fall for the trap. And that's heartbreaking, but that's okay. Okay, so let's just continue with my plan. He did not fall for the trap, but still, this is good position. Okay, now we can consider something brutal. Hope you guys can guess what I'm thinking right now. And it probably does not work, so that's amazing. Okay, let's go bishop f1. Like, I know this seems like a strange move at first, but I promise you there is an idea behind bishop f1. And that idea is to play bishop d3. And look at this. Could be pretty strong, I would say. Knight is threatening to go to g5, and the only way black can prevent that, based on what I'm seeing, is to go queen d5. But then I have another very, very nasty surprise. Okay. So, if this was a puzzle, I would say white to move and find the best move. And right now it looks to me that knight f6 is a pretty good move, so let's go for it. This seems unstoppable, queen h7. Okay. I mean, stoppable, but for one move. That's fine though. Okay, so that was a very, very nice game. So, well played by Eric. Now let's check the top board and see what this situation is holding. And it seems like white might be better here. Looks equal, but again, white has played from that position that I saw, like the last time we checked this, to there, to here, at this moment. White has made a lot of progress. Oh, they agreed to a draw. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, it probably was an equal position, so. Okay, so last round has begun. And I am playing HTT49. So let's check the standings. Again, this seems to be a very close last round. Hopefully, the good news is that I am kind of in control of my own fate. But let's see what happens. Okay, so the good news is that I am white again. So white gives me a bit of leverage here. So we're repeating the same opening because, of course, it worked out pretty well the last time. Okay, knight a6. The timing of this knight a6 move is slightly surprising. Looks like I can play knight e5 here. If I play knight bd2, he's going to play b6. That would kind of transpose into normal line. Okay, let's go knight e5. Taking advantage of the fact that black's knight is a little bit misplaced, and black cannot play knight bd7, nor can he play b6. So this kind of deviates from the main line a little bit. So let's see if we can get something out of this. If you are new here, I hope you are having a great Easter weekend, and the event you are watching right now is Chess4Unity's third Saturday event. And this is a free event for everyone attending. We have 3 different sections. We have under 600, under 1,200, and we also have an open section. So any rating level, any playing strength is welcome here. And we have, for each section, the prizes are first place $30, second place $15. And again, we do not differentiate tie breaks. So if 2 people tie for first, we will split the money. So, free event, good prizes. There's really no reason for you not to attend. And for more information, be sure to visit chess4unity.com. Chess, and then a 4, the number 4, not the letter, not the word, number 4, unity.com. Okay, so in this position, black took on c4, which is probably not the best move, because now after queen takes c4, again, this knight on a6 is a little bit too out of play. That makes sense. Usually, like if the knight was on d7, this position would be totally fine for black. Maybe black can even play knight b8 here. Could be a good move. C3. No reason for us to do anything, panic, or rush. Knight d5. Interesting move. Again, let's just stick to our development plan. Rook d1. Next move. Maybe even e4 next move. Okay, let us check some other games, including, let's check HDI Chess versus Eric Tian Chess. So, this game looks like white is slightly better. Yeah, white has just a little bit better position, a little more active pieces. The isolated pawn is slightly weak. Black has really no initiative for the isolated pawn, which means white has a small comfortable advantage. So we'll definitely get back into this game. And we also have to check another game. This game is also an important game for the final standings. Black has 2.5. So a win would mean guaranteed at least tied for first. Okay, let's get back to our game. So that was played. Makes sense. Let's go e4. Takes. I mean, yeah, sure. Let's change up the pawn structure a little bit. I feel like this majority would be a benefit for us. This center majority, I mean. Okay, bishop d6. Slightly strange move. Let's continue our development with bishop f4. Black has quite a lot of options. One of the threats that I have is knight takes f7. So black should try to prevent that with something like bishop e8 or queen e7. All are possible moves. Queen e7 was put. Okay, logical. Let's go rook b1 first. Pressure this b7 pawn, see how black is going to try to defend it. There are lots of ways of defending it, but all of them make a little bit of a concession, and that's really all I want. Force concessions out of this position. b5. That is a concession. Now let's see. One option is to play knight takes c6. That's a good move. Right, it wins a pawn, I believe. And yeah, it looks great. Another option is to play queen e2. So let's calculate knight takes c6 first of all. Because if it wins a pawn, then no reason why I should not be playing it. But one thing that is slightly bothering me about knight c6 is knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, queen takes c6, bishop takes f4, g takes f4. That position, especially after black plays rook fc8, is a little bit concerning for me because this queen looks like it's a little bit trapped. Right? It's not going to get trapped, but it kind of ties me a little bit, and that is not something I really want. So I'm going to bail out of that. And there is really no problem with bailing out of that because, again, b5 is a concession. And again, like I said, my goal is to force some sort of concession. And now, guess what? c6 is a weakness that I can attempt to target. That's why, chess is a beautiful game because nuances like that can really add up and make a difference. Looks like knight takes e7 is a good move because now I have e5, which can really provoke some weaknesses. For example, let's take on f6. Rook takes f6. That is absolutely fine, no big deal. Let us go bishop e5. e5 looks like a good square. I think so, at least. So now Black is forced to make a very awkward move. Either bring the rook to h6 or g6, or lose a pawn. Neither option is truly um, ideal. Okay, my opponent decided to hang on to that pawn, which makes sense. I'm not complaining though, because right now I have this move, which looks very nice. Okay, I don't want to get too carried away here, so let's use some brain here. Yeah, let's go c4. Okay, let's check out the other two games. What's going on? So we have this position, which is probably a little bit better for white still, but again, black goes bishop f8, and it's no big deal. Let's put it that way. We have another position, which is the other game, and this looks a little bit more complicated. Wait, queen takes f2, queen takes e5, and if rook d7, what happens there? Wait, what happens after rook d7? I don't know. Oh, my opponent moves, so let's get back to my game before I run out of time. Okay. That's fair. Okay, so if I go rook b7, the problem is that he plays bishop d6. But if I play queen takes c4, he has knight d5. Okay, this looks a little bit more promising. Because I can bring my rook to c1 here. Knight d5 as expected, now rook there. Rook c8, not shocking at all. Once again. Now another pretty. Let's go queen a6. Again, one of those moves has a purpose. which is to play rook b7. And again, you see this rook on h6, and I can just play against that rook. That's kind of my philosophy here. Let's go. a4. Threatening a5. Which could be annoying, I would say. But again, the key, the rook on h6, allows me to have some sort of leverage to play against something, because all my forces are concentrated on the queen side. Even the bishop is even like the dark square bishop is even concentrating somewhat on the king side. But again, this rook on h6 is the only outlier and allows me to play pretty much with an extra rook on the queen side. Again, is it an extra rook? No, but does it help? Yeah. Okay, I think that might be a mistake. Yeah. Takes, and then rook takes b6 wins. Yeah, so again, those... Check. Yeah, I can just keep on checking, and somehow it's got to be one of the checks will be decisive, and I kind of already see how. So here, black has two options: king f6 or king g6. If king g6, queen takes e6 will win. Here, though, I can play queen f8. I was thinking, and my next move is queen takes g7, no matter what, and it's gonna be except in this situation. Maybe not. But anyways, I still have queen f7. Let's go h4. Okay, I don't mind an extra rook. It's fine. Let's take this yummy pawn. should we? Yeah, let's take this yummy pawn. And here we have king h2, which should win, because queen d6 is met by queen g3. And the rest is not a big deal. Okay, so white resigned. I mean, not white resigned, black resigned. That was some good chess, HTT49. So, what do we have here? We have updated. So we have black has won on time. Okay, and this position was pretty much dead equal. I mean, not dead equal, but equal, I would say. So, but black won on time, and time is a huge factor. So, black, in that case, black also had 2.5. Okay, here it still looks like there's some conflict going on here. Let's see what's happening. Sort of unclear. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine white is not better, but I mean, white is obviously better. But is white winning? Not sure. Whoa. Hold on. Wait, no. Why didn't white play h2? Oh, okay. Whoa, what's going on here? Yeah. I have no idea, but it's hard for me. Like, even if black just sacrifices that knight for 2 pawns, it's difficult to win rook versus bishop, knight and bishop versus king, but it's even more difficult to win it when you have only 40 seconds left. So if white can win bishop versus knight versus king in under 40 seconds, that's quite impressive. Very impressive, actually. That would be very impressive. Oh, we're not even going to get there because king c7 is gonna... Yeah, there's no way white can get out of there. Okay, so congratulations to HDI Chess, myself, and wait, what? Okay, the tournament score is a little bit strange because we played 4 rounds, not 3. So I'm not exactly sure who to congratulate. Hold on, let me check. Okay, it looks like first place, tied for first place is myself and GM Ready Opening. So congratulations for that. Tied for third. Third is HDI Chess, and tied for third is I'll win 200. So congratulations to those people. And thank you guys for tuning in for Chess4Unity, their Saturday event. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And again, free chances to win prizes. There's really nothing better. So be sure to sign up on chess4unity.com. So yeah, have a good weekend and have a good break, guys. Thank you.